How we doing?
How you doing?
I'm good, I'm good.
Nice to see you in person again.
I know, this is nice. Really nice.
How's your off time been and what have you been working on the last few weeks?
It's been great. Just a little quality time with the family and hanging out in Colorado and doing a little bit of training at altitude and all the fun stuff I like to do in the summer.
You didn't do that last year, or remind us?
I did a little bit, but then my father-in-law actually ended up getting COVID and we had to come back here because he had to be hospitalized. So we didn't get to spend much time up there last year.
I know it only seems like you started in the era of 12-game seasons, but how does 17 games feel compared to 16?
You know, it's one of those things I really haven't even thought about much. I mean, when you get late in the year, I kind of think you're in that mode of every week is kind of a little bit of survival. You play in a game, you try to get your body back, and you're preparing yourself for the playoffs. So you're really not thinking about how many you have left as much as getting through each one. And so I think really for me, it's like I really haven't even thought about it because I think when we get to that point, it'll just be another week where that same mentality exists, kind of like playing in the playoffs or not getting a bye and having to go through that extra game in the playoffs. That really when you get there, I think you'll deal with it and you'll know a little more after the season how much different it really was.
Andrew, in years past, you've told us about how you always kind of had this number of your weight. Coming off an injury for the first time, where are you with how do you feel, your weight, and going into this season?
Yeah, I mean, obviously a significant offseason just from a standpoint of, with really two ligament tears with the MCL and the PCL, just kind of making sure stability and strength and all those things get back in the leg. And so really my focus more this offseason was a little bit of that and keeping my weight down, kind of where I'd been at the last couple of years and kind of staying in that range. And so feel great, feel good. I mean, I've kind of tried to give myself enough time where I trained really hard and pushed it really a lot throughout the off season, and this summer was a little more of just kind of doing conditioning and getting in shape and being ready to really hit that training level again when we got back here. And so I'm prepared for that. I'm fresh and mentally, physically, everything, and ready for the journey.
And in Colorado, you're outside of Vail?
Yeah, right up there, about 9,000 feet,
Okay.
and just a lot of hiking and taking the kids hiking up and down trails and wearing backpacks and different things like that. Just having a little fun being outdoors.
I saw some video of your son pushing a sled. Does he push you or do you push him?
They get out there and just they watch me do that all the time. So they eventually it's like something fun to them. They want to get out there and try it too, and so they'll follow me around a little bit and do some of those things and give it their best shot. So it's fun. It's fun to have our little time in the mornings in the garage and all four of them out there, the girls in their dresses and trying to work out at the same time. It's pretty funny.
Andrew, just to clarify too, so you're fully cleared, ready to go. I know you guys haven't maybe done your physicals yet, but you're fully cleared, ready to go.
Oh yeah, ready to roll.
And then you had a great interview with Chris Long on his Green Light podcast, and he talked about how every year, the last 7, you're like, this might be it, but then you just get that bug in you at the end. What has that been like for you this year, and how have you reflected on where you are now and what you think the future might be?
You know what? It's pretty wild. I think Travis just told me on the way up here. I hadn't even thought about it that my NFL career could have a driver's license now. So, it's pretty wild. I think every year you go into it with the same mentality of for me, I've loved the game. I've always enjoyed playing it. I still have a passion to be really good at it, and so I feel that same way right now. And so I don't really see it any different than the last couple of years. I guess, a little bit of the gambler spirit. I keep saying at some point you got to hedge your bet that this is the last one. So I don't know when that is, but this could be it. But I've said that 7 or 8 times in a row, so we'll see.
How was it spending time with Matthew Stafford?
It's been great. Yeah, I mean, being around Staff and just kind of getting a chance to be around Matthew and his family and realizing, what a family guy and just what a good dude he is has been cool to see. And I always had a lot of respect for him across the league just from watching him play. And we have some mutual friends, before we ever really got a chance to spend a lot of time together. One of his college teammates is a very, very close friend of mine and played with me in Cincinnati for a long time. So I've known a lot about him, but just to get to see him in person and be around him and his family was really special. And you can tell he's one of those guys that does it the right way and is a great representation of this league.
How will he affect your game? Now that he's got 12 years under his belt, and now you've got a gajillion years under your belt.
Well, I look at it like just like when John Sullivan was here and Roger Saffold and other veterans in the league. There's just always this hard to explain, just an understanding and appreciation you have for other veterans in the league and the time they've put in. And so I think with Matthew, it's really quick to pick that up. You've both seen a lot of things. You can kind of discuss things that maybe other young players may understand the game, but they haven't experienced or they haven't been through. And so I think for him and I, it's pretty easy to pick up on different things and different situations that we've both been through and experienced.
Andrew, after the off-season or through the off-season program, what did you see from Austin at that center position?
It's been really good to see him kind of make that transition. He's done it some in his career, and I think he's one of those guys that, you really look at just the short time he's been here, looks like he could play anywhere for us. And so he's had that ability to kind of bounce around. He played with me for a little bit on the left side, went over to the right, he left me. Traitor, but no, and then now he's in there in the middle. So he's a guy that you can rely on, and that's what you want first and foremost, snapping the football. And so, as one of your most reliable guys, and he's one of those guys that can do it, and he's built the right way. He's got the right mentality, and I look forward to seeing how that all unfolds.
What's your feeling overall about this team in comparison with the last few Rams teams going in?
I feel great. I mean, I think we have the kind of character and culture that we've worked so hard to have, and I think that you feel really good for that. And I think we're made up of a lot of guys that just love playing the game and have a lot of fun doing it. I mean, our energy, it's hard, even in a walkthrough, just to keep the energy at a level where it's satisfactory because it's almost too excited and too amped up to hit each other. And so I think we have a lot of guys that really have stuff to prove and enjoy playing the game. And so I feel really good about that because I think that's the best place to start from.
And then the combination of some of the additions in the offseason, Matthew obviously being foremost, but also the loss of your number one rusher in the past week. How does all that factor?
Well, I think, much like I said when we made the trade and got Matthew Stafford, the one thing you can always count on in the NFL is something's changing, by the minute. And every week will be that way. You'll see more injuries throughout the league of guys over the next month or two. And teams will have to adapt, and they'll have to change, and they'll have to figure out a way of, hey, you may have thought this is the one way we're going to do things this year, and that may change before you know it. And so I think that the ability to adapt, the ability to just understand of putting your players in a position to win is something that Sean McVay has been really special at and has set him apart from a lot of coaches. And one of the things that really makes you realize how special he is we can talk about intelligence, we can talk about all these things that he shows and they're impressive in an interview, but the ability to really adapt his team and his players to what's going to put them out on the field with an opportunity to win is pretty rare. And so I don't think this will be any different situation.
Andrew, Sean McVay mentioned yesterday that you guys are really close to 100% vaccinated. Did you take kind of a leadership role in that regard in those conversations that I'm sure were happening all offseason, not just with teammates, but also as protocol after protocol kind of came out and people are dissecting and disseminating that?
I think not really. I mean, I think that's one of those things that, I would never step in the way of where that leadership comes from. I think Reggie Scott and his team, Reggie's a special human being and somebody who's one of the rarest there is at what he does. And his ability to give information and just educate and create an opportunity of a safe place for guys to feel comfortable to make their own decisions. I think that if anything, it's just a credit to him and a credit to his staff and our team doctors and the ability they do. I mean, Reggie's he's been really special, and in the time I've been here, getting to be around him and the ability he has to do that and create that safe place and that culture where guys feel like they can listen to their medical team and they can, follow his direction. And I think that's something that he would never put pressure on guys to do, but he'd educate them and let them make their own decision as their own men. And so, really hats off to him and his team that we've had enough guys that see it that way and have decided to make that choice for themselves.
It's been a couple of years since you guys have been here in Irvine. As a veteran, what's kind of the goal? What can you accomplish as a team here that you couldn't in Thousand Oaks?
Well, I think when you're here and it's just us and it's kind of all set up in this small area where you got everything from training to nutrition to your daily recovery and all that stuff. When you're in this little bit of a pocket and you're all staying right here, it's easier to really have that 24 hours a day hey, I'm always kind of focused and locked into what it is in the next 3 or 4 weeks. I'm going to be really able to make some strides and steps of where I need to get to. And so when you go away for camp that way, just that 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is, you kind of just are getting everything you can get all at once, and the best of the best. And so, once you get home, there's like how much time it takes you to get home, get to the facility, getting up, all these type things. There's other things pulling at you. It's harder to do that. Then you have to learn to really how to minimize and really maximize the time you have. But here, you kind of got all day. You got a lot of free time where you can work on something that you maybe didn't think you'd get a chance to work on. And I think that's one of the things. And also sitting around. There's conversations. There's, hey, you know what? Yesterday we had this play. Like, why'd you do this? You get a chance to talk to a defender, or he gets to talk to me of how did I know this was coming. I mean, all those kind of conversations can happen when you're in this setting where you're really kind of stuck together. So you just find ways to, hey, let's improve while we're here. And I think some of those little natural conversations happen.
And you've got an addition to the offensive line room and Max Purcher from the International Player Pathway Program. I know you, from time to time during the off-season program, you would step aside and give him pointers, things like that. What are your early impressions with him, and what kind of insights have you tried to provide him?
Yeah, I mean, Max he's a big dude and really, really passionate about trying to figure out this game and understand it and play it well. And so it's fun. I mean, anytime I get a young player throughout my career that has that much passion and energy to just want to do the right thing, it's fun to try and help them in some way possible. So usually just having simple conversations of different things and concepts of why we do things a certain way. And I think for him, just understanding those basics and those simple things first will help him understand how to move his body and how to use himself to really get things done that he needs to operate in a way that he can play efficiently and effectively, and grow himself into a football player, which is what he wants to be. And so that's fun for me. Like that almost energizes you a little bit to see some of that passion and his smile and how excited he is to do well.
One of the rookies, Robert Rochelle, was talking about the variety of personalities that this rookie class brings to the team. Do you notice anything about that? And I'm curious, in a general sense, over the years you've been playing, are rookies any different now than they were then? Are they any more?
I would say they have a lot more freedom to speak now than I did when I was a rookie. That's one of those things. When I got in the league as a rookie, if you spoke, you were going to be carrying something, or you were going to be adding a task to your day. And if you were small enough, you might be going in the cold tub. So, these guys, now I think that culture is kind of gone in a good way. It's more about, really showing up and showing that you have a passion for our team to be successful. And it's not just about you, it's about all of us. And I think young guys that come in with that energy and that passion and want to play and be successful, I think that this is the best environment they can be in, because I think this team and this culture, that's all we want. We want guys that love football, love what they do. They love the opportunity to go out and be successful. And so I think these guys don't seem any different than that. They seem pretty locked in and ready. And I think that over these next couple of weeks, we'll get to see that in person. But you know what? I'm excited about them. I'm excited about their energy and their personalities. And I think that this place is all about being who you are and making sure that that's about us. And that's the only thing that we care about. And so I think we're really excited about them and the potential they have going forward for this football team.
Any specific reason that culture has changed?
I think over the years, I know myself, that was always just something that made me very uncomfortable. I'm somebody that I tell these guys this all the time. There'll be a point in the season, we'll talk about this, that they're men before they're anything. And so they're their own man before they're anything else. And so, I never want to put an athlete or a guy in a position that just because they're young or whatever it is, that I'm making them bow down to me or really have to step down to me because of some reason that just really doesn't exist. And so to me, I never felt that that was a responsible way to do things. And I get the times, and maybe that was part of it, but to me, encouraging these guys to one, feel good about themselves, have confidence in who they are as a person and everything else, and believing in themselves is more important than whether or not they want to bring me a coffee or carry my pads. I want them to believe in themselves. I want them to believe that they can change their family's lives and they can reach every dream they've ever had. And to me, the rest of the stuff really doesn't matter.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.